Woohoo! The kids are here. I mean, win's a win. The Flames pick up 2 points in their first post-holiday break match against the Sharks. 3-1 the final. Huberdeau continues his hot streak with 2 goals. Couple assists for Kadri. I'm Cami. We have a catfish named Jet America in the comments. He's not a Northern Pike. He's Ryan Pike. Thanks so much for showing up late, everybody. But Ryan, this is our first show together this season.
We have the actual Jeff Merrick in the comments? That's exciting.
I don't know. That's the thing. I'm never sure.
I might have to text him to find out if it's actually Jeff.
That's why I'm saying we've got a catfish and we have a Northern Pike. Just kidding. You're much nicer than a Northern Pike. Those things are ugly. They have.
And I'm from Southern Alberta, so like, I don't know. I bristle at the notion that I'm Northern anything. But that was a fun hockey game, wasn't it?
Okay, but like here's the thing, when you're like crushing Christmas dinner and like you start fast, you're feeling good, and then you start slowing down and then you can't move and the dinner's kind of like eating you and you're on the couch with the meat sweats and you realize just how much it took out of you. That is going to be my very ham-fisted metaphor for a Sharks team that might have lost, but definitely stole the show tonight with 2 players in particular. Macklin Celebrini, who? That's what a first overall draft pick can do for a team.
Yeah, and when Celebrini and Will Smith are on the ice, the mood kind of changed. When they weren't on the ice, not so good. I wouldn't go so far to call the San Jose Sharks a 3-man team, but if you swap out that goaltender for literally anybody else in this evening, it's a walk. And during the periods when Celebrini and Will Smith weren't there reenacting sweet basketball TikToks, the game was very one-sided. So I'll give credit for the Sharks, though. I mean, the San Jose Sharks, my disclosure, my cousin is a very big Sharks fan for reasons I just don't understand. I think he liked Logan Couture or something. I forget. No, he was a big Joe Pavelski fan. That's what it was. They named their cat after Joe Pavelski for some reason.
Well, did they name it Joe or Pavelski? That's a very important difference.
Pav. They named the cat Pavs. It's a good cat too. But just their idea of, okay, let's have the Flames press for 2 periods, and then, oh yeah, the Flames are just trying to hold on in the third. It was a weird game.
It was a weird game, but we do thank you for being here. We're going to break it all down, and a huge shout out to our friends at Bet365 for helping us keep the lights on. And if you feel so inclined, we got the Super Chat going again tonight. Our Super Chat charity partner all this season is Youth Centers of Calgary. So if you want to make sure your question or comment, rant or rave gets on the show, you can hit us with the Super Chat and support YCC, a place where kids are welcome and accepted as they are. Safe place for them to go, talk sports, play music, and just have a bit of a safe spot when life can get pretty crazy. So be sure to help them out. You can click the $ in the live chat, follow the instructions, and the amount of time pinned at the top of the chat feed depends on how much you spend, but we'd really appreciate you helping them out. So I'd say, Askarov, story of the night, but that does not discount what Dustin Wolf did. Actually, let's pull up the clip if we can, Yasmin, of the final play of the night that just kind of encapsulated a lot of good things that the Flames did do this evening. We can fire that away. That would be great. Great save by Wolf. The diving play from Kadri to get it out of the zone. Hospital's hauling ass down to the other end, and Huberdeau is able to finish it off with his second goal of the night.
Now, I know we frequently say that plus minus is a garbage stat for Hospital got a plus in that play. Kadri got a plus in that play. Those were like probably the hardest working empty net pluses those guys are going to get in their careers because, just fine work all around. I know Nazem Kadri has been a lightning rod of controversy in this market this year. He makes what he makes. We can't control it. It's not my money. I don't care. I just want to see him try to do good hockey things. And this game, pretty good.
I think this is one of the games that you have to pull up when people say that he doesn't care or he doesn't try. Like, you and I were talking about it before we started the stream, but if this is what you're doing on your first game back from the holidays on the road against San Jose, you have to, like, I think Flames fans appreciate a guy who just works his bag off, and that's exactly what you got out of him tonight. And that was a really fun line to watch.
Yeah, and it was one of those games where I think, was everything working for the Flames? No, I don't think we can call it that. But was enough working that they were able to get something that they hardly ever do, a win on the road? Yeah. And considering that in less than 24 hours, they're heading over to the place known as where the house always wins, T-Mobile Arena in Vegas, you probably wanted to win the front half of this one because you might not get the back half.
Yeah, and the Flames coaching staff had a chance to do scouting. I don't know how much scouting you really need on Vegas at this point, but they were at the San Jose Vegas game last night getting a look at their opponents on this back-to-back. But when you talk about the struggles the Flames have had on the road, like, sure, the Sharks had lost 6 in a row coming into tonight, but Calgary had been on an 8-game road losing streak prior to that win on the road over the Predators. So now it's 2 wins in a row. That was huge for them, and you got to get those points where you can.
Yeah,
especially when I don't think they loved what they did with that homestand heading into the break.
Yeah, as an aside, it's kind of cool, but also kind of weird the way the schedule worked out because I'm going to get very nerdy, as is my brand. So as Cami alluded to, Friday night, first game back, Vegas had the morning of flight into San Jose, played the Sharks. So Sharks and Vegas Golden Knights played each other. Vegas flies home. Flames are waiting. They play the Sharks. Then they fly over to Vegas. Then they play Vegas tomorrow. So sort of a mini 3-game round robin between these 3 teams in a 72-hour period, which I kind of think is kind of fun. And I wish the league would kind of do. And in the event the NHL decides to expand their international schedule and make it a bit more structured, hey guys, maybe this could kind of work because I think we got some good hockey out of it.
Yeah, it's been fantastic so far. I love that you're bringing the same energy as the people who track Taylor Swift's private jet, but that's beside the point. We have a bigger fish to fry right now. Dustin Wolf. This is like as close as he gets to a hometown game, and he's played well against the Sharks in his tenure, other than his first couple starts at the NHL level. We're not going to talk about that though, but grew up in Gilroy. It's like, 40 minutes south of there. That's as close to a home game as you get for him. And things were quiet for him through the first 2 periods, really. He gets 1 goal against, but it's Macklin Celebrini on the power play. You can't really fault him too much for that one. And he comes up huge in the 3rd period and is probably the main reason that the Flames did end up winning this one.
Yeah, and I mean, I think we've been waiting to find out at various points of the year if the moment will ever be too big for Dustin Wolf. He ended up the game with 21 saves and 22 shots. So, on paper, the numbers say that, he wasn't wildly busy. He wasn't exactly, I think there's been a few games this season where the Flames have had good first periods and he could have finished a Sudoku in the first period, but he had to be really good. And, call a spade a spade. The Flames penalty kill has been not great this year. Both the goaltenders have not great numbers on the penalty kill, but 5-on-5, Dustin Wolf is still amongst the NHL's top goaltenders. And, the Flames stayed out of the box for the most part this evening. And as a result, they're heading to Vegas with some points in their pocket.
And then you have Askarov on the other side. I mean, until Backlund scored, I was just I'm like, he has everybody's number. Backlund must just feel so robbed right now because I think he had like 3 fantastic chances before he finally got through with the eventual game winner. But that was as insane a goalie performance as I've seen this season. That was so fun to watch.
Yeah, and it's I'll go back to my point. Just the idea of think about the goalies we've seen Dustin Wolf duel against this year. I mean, they've been very fortunate enough that Vladar's been good and they've been able to have some favorable matchups as much as they can for Dustin Wolf. But we've seen Dustin Wolf go head to head with Jake Ottinger. We've seen Dustin Wolf go head to head with Igor Shesterkin. We've seen him go head to head with Spencer Knight. So if you were someone, I mean, shout out to
his old teammate Spencer Knight.
Yeah, Shang Peng out of San Jose Hockey now, and Sean Shapiro of various places were on social media jacked about this goaltending matchup because you had a guy who in Dustin Wolf who's been one of the top young goaltenders in the American Hockey League pretty much since he arrived, and Yaro Askarov, he's not that far off. He was drafted around after Dustin Wolf, granted also a year after, but adjacent rounds, 7th and 1st, and Askarov had as many people as excited as folks around here are about Wolf. And, I don't think anything we've seen from Askarov, especially at the NHL level, will do much to tamper that, I'd say, well-earned enthusiasm for him. So, it's one of those nights where if you're a hockey fan, you go, oh boy, goalie duel. But if you're a Flames fan, you probably look at it and going, yeah, goalie duel. And our guy got more, more key saves and got the win. So, if you're a Sharks fan, you probably feel good about the future of your team, knowing that you're probably going to get a pretty good draft pick this year. And you got some guys waiting in the wings that'll help you out pretty soon. But if you're the Flames, you're probably not feeling too bad about the result either.
Yeah, it's just wild. I mean, when's the last time we saw a goalie drafted that high?
I'm trying to
I know there hasn't been a first overall since Fleury, obviously, but 2020, 11th overall, originally by Nashville.
Yeah, I don't want to. I'm much like Pender. I'm not a big draft goalies early guy. I think the Flames' current strategy of 4th to 5th to 6th to 7th round, somewhere, after I think this year they got
second last.
I think this year they got Kirill Zarubin in the 3rd round this year. I think a little bit early for my tastes, but they also did enough good things in the first 3 rounds that I'm not going to throw shade at them. Let's let Cook if he thinks that's his guy, but it's been an interesting few weeks, especially with a playoff chase on, it seems.
Seriously. Actually, I think we need to take a look at some of those Askarov saves. I think we've got a little bit of a compilation teed up here. I'm just waiting to see Peltier's "Are You Kidding Me?" head thrown back. I'm ready to see that again.
I'm kind of sad we didn't get like a sweet overhead view because immediately when I saw him swiped out of the air, I got flashbacks to that Dustin Wolf shutout where he just flung the puck out of the air on the goal line and somehow it went over the line. I kind of thought for Peltier's sake, I'm like, oh God, this kid, with his luck, he won't get one of these. But
I thought you were talking. Speaking of almost a shutout, I thought you were going to go for the one against San Jose. I believe it was 5-1, but the shutout was spoiled with like less than a minute left. And I think he faced something like 16 shots.
He's had a couple.
Been robbed a couple times of those sweet, sweet clean sheets.
Wolf has done something in a past life to just annoy the hockey gods so that he has like so many of these wins where he just gives up one goal, and it's one goal like in the last 5 minutes.
And just while we wait for that clip to pop up, Nation Gear from December 26th to the 29th. Yeah, that's tomorrow. Biggest sale of the year, 20% off of every single piece of Nation Gear, hoodies, tees, hats. All of it is on sale. And if you spend over $200, free shipping too. Saving on the gear and the delivery. Very important. And we only do this once a year, and it is the biggest one. So time is now. It's nationgear.ca. You can gear up, save big, and look sharp, repping your team. Now let's see if we can take a gander at some of those saves. Oh, I heard it.
And it kind of shows a little bit like he's all about compete. And, technically, because he's only 22, he's got a little ways to go. You can see he gets caught swimming every once in a while. But I like him. And Greg even mentioned about his cockiness or confidence in himself. I mean, it takes a lot for a guy that only played, I think, 2 games for Nashville or 3 games for Nashville and asked to get moved because the number 1 guy gets an extension. I mean, you've got to really believe in yourself if you've played that few games. But listen, if you're going to work that hard and
Yeah, some of many. Those are actually probably not the craziest saves that he made tonight, but definitely some good stuff in there. Oh my gosh.
Next time I see Kelly, I'm going to see if I can teach him the term swaggy, mostly because I want him to use the term on national television because I think it'd be fun. Oh yeah, there's a ton of swagger in Askarov's game. And I mean, when, I imagine you've seen Bull Durham, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. He kind of
I
reminds
don't
me.
know if I've seen people use the term swaggy
He's-
post 2015, Ryan.
He's got that Nuke Lelouch energy to him where he's sort of like, he's kind of all over the place. Like his puck handling's wild. You're like, what are you doing out there, man? Like sort of, he gives you some Mike Smith flashbacks with his puck handling at times, but he pulls it off. And, outside of a seeing eye tip and a power play goal, the Flames couldn't get much past them. I mean, if you're the Sharks and you think that he's your guy going forward, I mean, you're probably feeling pretty good about your future.
Absolutely. You mentioned it there. Let's take a look at a couple of those Flames goals. First one came less than 5 minutes in. Huberdeau, still hot. He's feeling the pre-dad strength. We already say it's dad strength if you're just announcing that you're expecting. Anyway.
I don't think he gets his dad strength until the baby's here. This is just regular strength.
I don't know. You should ask next time you're down in the scrums.
Yeah, we'll grill him about the concept of dad strength.
Perfect. Lomberg almost had it. But anyway, comes off a face-off win from Calgary. Kadri wins it back to Weegar. Huberdeau, picture-perfect tip. It's an early lead. 4 goals, 3 games. And now is that 13 points in December? Unbelievable stuff from him. Now
it's 14.
14 now, right. I wrote this down in my notes before the empty netter, but I wrote down Huberdeau, 30 goals. Confirm or deny? What's your take?
This time last year, he was in the midst of the December from hell where he was playing really well. Puck possession was great. Tons of shots, tons of everything. Nothing went in for him, and he got his first point of the month on New Year's Eve against the Philadelphia Flyers. But this month, it's the different kind of month. He's got 14 points in 10 games, and it's not like, there's tons of guys that sort of, pad their point totals with secondary assists and empty net goals and this, that, the other thing. Like guys like, hey, I touched it last. Look at me. Huberdeau, he's the guy on a lot of the goals that he's getting points on. And, if you're someone who is thinking, hope for Huberdeau's, sanity. I mean, he's a guy that cares a ton, and I think it was driving him nuts that he wasn't doing as much or as well as he thought he could. And, he asked to be put in the penalty kill, and now he's doing really good in all situations. So, I mean, good for him.
And he does also deserve his flowers for handling things as well as a person could in his situation. He hasn't gotten nasty or sassy with the media contingent here, and I don't know how he's managed to keep his head that cool.
Across the league, how many guys have gotten the overpay contract, quote unquote, not had their game that they wanted to have, and then just be like, their whole game turns into an eye roll. The whole, oh well, and then you sort of see their body language just goes to hell, and they look like they're just dogging it. And Huberdeau at his worst probably looked like he was trying too hard. I don't think caring has ever been an issue for Huberdeau, and it's really, I think for him, it's probably really validating to see him play as well as he had. Shout out to our Post Media's Danny Austin. If you go to the Post Media site, he has a really nice feature on Huberdeau's turnaround and his great month. But when he was talking to us the other day, Huberdeau mentioned he thinks it's the best he's ever played. And, you see a game like this where he's so visible, even when they're not scoring a ton of goals. And I won't dispute it. I have not seen all 800 some of Huberdeau's games. I've only seen the games he played here or against the Flames, but this is easily the best he's looked in red.
Was he saying
or white?
Ever?
Whatever. He said ever.
Ever Flames or ever?
I don't think we parsed this use the word ever, but
didn't catch the Outcast reference, hey?
No.
Oh, well, we're workshopping, pal. Gonna veer off topic for a sec here. Bob Tillman, thank you so much for supporting the super chat. We love to see it. So we're going to go and talk AHL right off the bat for you, Pike. I know you love it. When the hell does Cooley get a look if they plan on trading Vladar? They need to know what they have in Cooley.
I don't know. I'll say this. I think they have a price in mind for Vladar, and I think they don't want to undercut themselves. So if someone said, hey, we'll give you a fifth or a fourth or whatever for Vladar, is it worth it to just punt on a guy and then, oh yeah, our goalie tandem now is first year NHLer Dustin Wolf and a guy with 6 NHL games. Granted, I love Devin Cooley. He's been fantastic, and I've taken great pains to not call him the wrong name. He's Devin, not Logan. Logan's a different human being. But he's been really good, but he's also a complete non-entity at the NHL level just because he hasn't had a lot of looks, and the looks he did have were with the 23-24 edition of the San Jose Sharks, which was kind of an AHL team on their own. So
hey, they achieved the final goal.
I think if you're the Flames, best case scenario is you got 3 goalies you really love. And unless your hand is forced, unless, Vladar plays himself either into a situation where you're not going to be able to afford him in free agency potentially on a another deal, or other teams kick down your door and say, we'll give you firstborn child, second round pick, this, that, the other thing. I think slow playing it might be the way to go because, I don't know, folks, if you've seen the Calgary Wranglers play with Devin Cooley in net and the Calgary Wranglers play with Valtteri Ignatyev in net, all due respect to Valtteri Ignatyev, it's a different experience. The vibe is very different. And so if you have Cooley on a very good AHL team that has aspirations of pushing for Calder Cup and is currently first overall in the league, you feel pretty good. If you suddenly don't have Cooley, you feel a little bit different. And internally, I think they feel that going on a championship run, especially with some of the young faces that could be joining the team as ATOs down the back half of the season after their junior seasons wrap up, I think they see going on a run as a gigantic developmental plus for a lot of these kids. And I don't think you go on as long a run if Cooley's elsewhere, NHL or otherwise.
And now we get back on topic. Thank you for that little side quest, we'll call it. Do you want to talk about Backlund, Celebrini, or Pahal first? I'll leave it in your court.
Ooh, Backlund Celebrini sounds like a cool hockey themed punk band.
Doesn't it? Yeah, definitely could see that. Definitely could see that. All right. Yeah. Backlund Celebrini. Oh my God. Oh my gosh. I think Peltier got his ankles broken on the assist from Hemberg. And then, Celebrini just hammers that one-timer, levels the game. But then we get a rare Flames power play goal. We'll take it. I think it was 1 for 3 tonight. Backlund restoring Calgary's lead with a yucky shot that just squeaked through. He had to beat him somehow, but damn it, he figured it out. Backlund gathered the long rebound off of a Kadri shot and just slips it past Askarov. And that was the one that mattered most in the end. There was some really good puck movement on the first and the second power play, I'll say.
Yeah, and Flames now, I mean, as much as Cami wants to throw shade, they're the NHL's 15th best power play right now. They started off being,
that those first 5 games are skewing the numbers.
They were so bad. They were very bad on both sides of special teams. The funniest thing is, I think if you read everybody's season previews, both inside and outside the market, everyone's like, oh man, well, they're not going to score a lot of goals 5-on-5, but hopefully their penalty kill can stay good and their power play can help them grind out some close games. And they turned out to be a pretty good offensive team at 5-on-5, despite some very bad special teams on both sides. And, if they're gonna hang around in these close games, they're going to have to keep getting good goaltending and try to score by hook or by crook, especially in the power play. And so if you have a league average power play and above average goaltending, you're going to have a chance. And if they can get their penalty kill up a bit, I think after this game, they're 29th. If they can get their penalty kill up towards the 20 mark, I think they might be kind of decent. But you lose Chris Tanev, you lose Noah Hannafin, you lose Elias Lindholm. Life gets tough pretty quick.
All right. Now let's see an actual highlight reel goal. Can we look at that Celebrini goal? Beautiful. I don't know if you were Team Tank before or not, but just seeing what a first overall pick can do sway you in your thinking at all when we see the Flames go on very promising stretches and you think that they might just muscle into playoffs.
Or if you watch the World Juniors coverage and see James Higgins absolutely school some of these countries. I mean, I don't think they've really had a big test yet, but I think Cam Robinson pointed out he had 6 points through 4.5 periods of World Junior play, and he's 17 going on 18. This is his first go around, and he's only going to get better. Yeah, it's as much as Flames fans probably look at the young kids who are on many nights driving the bus and driving the team towards relevancy. You also kind of look at their draft standing and go, all right. This is what's known as the Faustian bargain. You get your Dustin Wolf, everybody, but at what cost?
At what cost? Almost to the monkey's paw then, hey?
We gotta make some gifts with that. Every time Dustin Wolf makes a save, the monkey's paw just sort of shrivels a bit.
I don't know. I think maybe the Flames have been cursed since some fans tried to hex Jake Ottinger on social media back in the playoffs. Do you remember that?
If you pay attention to Reddit, they didn't just try to; they succeeded.
They sure did.
Since then, things have been okay-ish.
Yeah. Not.
Don't play with the dark arts, people.
Yeah. You learn. Well, I mean, this was their first game back from the holiday break. It was a strong start. Things did seem to slide a bit as the game went on. How much does that make you fear for tomorrow night against Vegas?
Well, the Flames are not a team that's historically played well in Paradise, Nevada. To my recollection, they've won twice. I want to say twice, maybe twice. I think they've got 5 points in the how many? Vegas ended the season in 2017. So the Flames have 2.5 wins in 7 seasons, 8 seasons. I'm bad with math and trying to figure out this. I'll have to use my fingers and my toes here, but yeah, it's not a great record. And part of that is the geography of it means that if you're the Flames, you're playing them after Utah or Arizona or one of the California teams, or sometimes Denver. There's been some Colorado, Vegas back-to-backs, which have just been like, I wouldn't want to play those teams in the same week, let alone within 36 hours of each other. But it's also just the fact that the Vegas Golden Knights have been an absolute wagon for a while, and they've always got goaltending, and they have somehow managed to cram $100 million worth of players underneath whatever salary cap ceiling they have in any given year. They might perpetually be wearing the Nikita Kucherov $18 million over the salary cap t-shirts. If they're not selling that at the Fortress at T-Mobile Arena, they need to start. Get in on this branding, you guys. But, just it's some teams just got your number. They were very good Flames teams that could not they couldn't win a coin toss at the Honda Center for the longest time. And then once they started winning at in Anaheim, they replaced that futility streak with a futility in Vegas. So I don't know, the Pacific time zone or the West, just something about that part of the country just absolutely flummoxes them.
Frankly, man, I don't even know which part of that to respond to, but I'm assuming you don't think it's gonna go good. It's as good a chance as any to talk about what the road ahead is. First off, though, we're going to shout out our buddy Derek Newman, born and raised in Calgary, family-oriented, great golfer, diehard Flames fan. If you want to talk sports or real estate, just give him a shout. He'll do it all for you. Complimentary in-house staging consultation, low pressure, easy to work with. He's accountable and available. And whether it's, your first time buying or you bought and sold several houses, he'll take the time to understand your goals. He knows everything about the market. He'll do the pre-listing consultation if you're selling and help you through every step of the way. And he'll answer when he calls and return your text, which is more than we can say for me, because I think I've got like 300 unread right now. So if you're interested in buying or selling your home in the greater Calgary area, call Derek at 403-619-6661. He'll make it easy for you. So let Derek put his network to work for you. Road ahead, we talked about going to Vegas tomorrow. That wraps up the mini road trip. They're back to the Saddle Dome on December 31st to host the Vancouver Canucks. They lost an OT to the Kraken tonight. Seattle scored 3 late just to force extra time. They've now lost 4 of their last 5 games, 3 of those losses in overtime. Hughes and Pedersen with injuries, not believed to be super serious, but fair to say it'll be a hungry Vancouver squad rolling in on Tuesday, which will also be my first time co-hosting Barn Burner. So please tune in and please be nice.
So who are you replacing?
Boomer and Rhett, I believe. I think it's me and Pender that day.
Okay, that sounds like a good show. Make sure you
Call it
keep
up to the
Pender
big
line
leagues.
though.
This is like our version of getting called up from the AHL.
Well, we'll miss you. Hopefully you do us proud.
Oh, I'll be back for Afterburner that night too. We're doing the old double.
Ooh.
I'm working a WHL shift with World Juniors as well. Huzzah.
You just don't sleep, do you?
Not well, never have, never will.
This is why we get along. I've noticed looking on the road ahead, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, first visit of the Utah Hockey Club
Yes,
to the
we got that
Scotiabank
coming up
Saddle.
we got that coming up on the Thursday. Utah's hot on Calgary's heels in the wild card race. Haven't finished with their break yet. They're also back tomorrow, also doing back-to-backs. They have Seattle and Edmonton, though, before heading down to Calgary, so they'll have one full day off. Saturday is the rematch against the Preds. We mentioned that critical road win against Nashville earlier this month, but the Preds are scoring again. They're 4-2-1 since losing to Calgary. Not saying they're about to pop off in the playoff race or anything, but certainly not an easy out these days. And they're also coming out of the break with back-to-backs, Winnipeg and Minnesota. And we'll wrap up that road ahead with the start of the California road trip. So Tuesday, January 7th against the Anaheim Ducks, another sub 500 team.
And I couldn't help but notice someone in the comments reminding everyone that January 7th, correct me if I'm wrong, they're at Richmond's?
Yeah.
And it's wing night?
Sure is. Happens to be the best neighborhood pub featuring sports. They happen to have 22 big screen TVs, and they turn on the game audio. Biggest selling point for me. Biggest selling point. They've got the Barn Burner Blonde and 6-shooter Sutter Lager all day, every day. Low price, and Bud and Bud Light on special for $6 every NFL day. And I believe tomorrow happens to be an NFL day. So January 7th, or really any night, go hang out with our friends at Richmond's Pub.
Yeah, it should be. It's always a good time, especially when they have the Flames game on, and especially when the boys are there. So if you've seen too much of your family, the holidays are over, you're like, okay, I need to get out of the house. I've seen too much of these people already. It's a good excuse to get out. You can tell the family that you're supporting a local small business, and it won't be a lie. This
is very true, and we do love to see that. It's also a good place to go to watch World Juniors. They're back on Sunday. Canada's playing Germany tomorrow night, 101 after that shootout loss to Latvia. You know, shady-ass Zane Parekh is going to be watching tomorrow.
Zane Parekh. What a fine young man. 9th overall pick, reigning Canadian Hockey League Defenseman of the Year, Ontario Hockey League Defenseman of the Year. I believe he's taking university classes. He's, a wise young man, highly skilled at hockey, scores, skates like the wind, great hair, good attitude. Can't say enough nice things about that young man. And he's very good at hockey.
That's it. You're not going to talk about
he had
media activity.
He had an assist tonight, I believe. I gotta double check the score sheet, but he had an assist as the Saginaw Spirit played their first game after the break. Mm-hmm. So he is, to my knowledge, active in the Ontario Hockey League and only 1 assist. Sorry, only 1 assist. I thought he had more. So by his standards, he had a disappointing afternoon of hockey. But by the standards of mere mortals, pretty good week.
Yep, huge. And obviously he was popping off a little bit last night, resharing some clips of some offensive defensemen as Canada could not buy a goal last night. Thank you for deflecting on that nicely.
Hey,
Pike. But I enjoyed it. I don't mind.
Tons of teenage hockey fans, regardless of their NHL affiliations, regularly post an admiration of the likes of Quinn Hughes and the likes of Cale Makar, who happens to be from Calgary.
All right. Well, if you're going to be like that, right, Ryan, we're going to put on our critical thinking caps, divas. This kid's not happy. He was left off the roster, and he's showing it in a roundabout way by liking things on social media. And more power to him. More power to him, I say.
He's having he's having a good holidays, and pretty soon he'll be wearing potentially a different sweater, and hopefully he gets a chance to play for Hockey Canada in the future at some international event. He has done so in the past, and he's performed extremely well. And fine young man.
Perfect. All right. Well, Canada is playing Germany tomorrow after that crazy loss to Latvia. That was actually kind of fun to watch, but tomorrow will be big. You gotta prove that you can score. I know Germany's not the toughest opponent, but now, we see time and time again, no one is an easy out at this tournament, and it is a chance to get some confidence going. Canada obviously has some good goaltending, but they had the shutout against Finland, 2 goals against in regulation with Latvia, but they only have 6 goals through 2 games. Germany has 5. So we'll see what they're able to get rolling there, especially without Matthew Schaefer, projected top pick in the upcoming NHL draft. That's just so awful to see. And Schaefer's just always been so lovely in my dealings with him. I hate to see that happen to him, but we will see Vancouver Canucks prospect Sawyer Mineo getting some ice time with Schaefer shut down for the tournament.
I believe Bob McKenzie reported that it's collarbone for Matthew Schaefer. Matthew Schaefer in the sort of, there's a 4-way mix right now for the first overall selection, and Schaefer, you hate to see it because he was one of those guys. It was essentially just the James Hagan show, and we've seen a bunch of really exciting young players, basically, amongst them Martone of the OHL forced their way into the conversation. You hate to see a kid miss out because of that kind of an injury, because hopefully he's back soon, because we've had too many first rounds where the top end, you're like, okay, I'm going to go make some coffee. I know what the first 4 picks are going to be. I like the chaos. And as an aside, I love how Latvia and Slovakia are sort of having a nice sort of coming out party, so to speak, on the international stage. We're seeing Latvia win some big games. We're seeing Slovakia, win tournaments and have, big games. As a fan of chaos, I'm unabashedly team chaos. And I love to sort of see some of these quote unquote, lesser lights in the international hockey community just not have any fear of these big guns and sort of try to kick them in the teeth every now and then. I think it's good for hockey overall when some of these smaller countries just make a name for themselves.
Well, it's just fun to watch. And for some of these teams, it doesn't matter who they beat. It's astounding that they were able to get Canada. But when I look back on recent years, some of the most exciting moments were not even the games. It was seeing Denmark celebrate after getting a win. It was seeing Germany celebrate after getting a win, because the reality is not all of these kids are going to play in the NHL. This is the pinnacle of what some of them will achieve. And they are kids, basically. So you do hope that they get to enjoy it. And if the hockey gods came down in front of me right now and they said, hey, we're going to give you the power to change this result to a regulation win for Canada, I would not take it.
One of the coolest moments I've seen at one of these Olympics, when I believe it was the Nagano Olympics, aside, Japan's not a world hockey power. They're just happy to be there. And hockey is one of those tournaments where if you're the host team, you're automatically in. So in 2026, Italy is automatically in the men's and women's tournaments. They're not going to do too well. But in Japan, the coolest thing was the women's hockey team scored their first ever international goal. They'd been shut out in all these tournaments forever. In the first time in a high-end like championship level tournament, they scored a goal. You would have thought that they had just won the gold medal with how the crowd reacted. And I think that's just fun for all these host countries, and it's just fun for those folks because, like you said, a lot of these men and ladies in these high end tournaments, especially if they're playing for some of these smaller countries, probably won't have an opportunity to play in world championships, to play in world juniors or wherever. But when they get a chance to do these kind of cool things and score their first ever Olympic goal or beat Canada for the first time ever in a major tournament, these guys, once they're of age in their country of origin, they won't have to pay for a drink anywhere. And I think that's kind of awesome.
And you mentioned Japan. I'm just going to throw it out there on the side that there are good things happening in Japan. A couple of years ago, Carla McLeod, formerly of the Calgary Dinos, coaching in the PWHL. She was coaching out in Japan for a while, and they got players like Kenta Isagai coming out of there. He's down in Wenatchee Wild right now. He's pretty nasty, actually. Also saw a question in the comments about whether there is a situation where another player could be brought up. Yes, it can happen in the event of an injury. We saw that happen with Jagger Firkus last year in Sweden. He got pulled over when Matthew Savoy got hurt and had to sit for several games, although I don't think he ended up actually seeing any ice time. But that is a look at the World Juniors. Another shout out to our buddies over at Sober Carpenter. Dry January coming up, so perfect time to check out the wares our friends over there are peddling if you haven't already. Craft Beer Reimagined. This year, Sober Carpenter celebrates 5 years of brewing award-winning non-alcoholic craft beer. They got the hoppy IPAs and the rich reds. They have all the flavor without the buzz. They're at Sobeys and Loblaws. Can also be delivered straight to your door at sobercarpenter.com, and just check out your favorite liquor stores kind of across Alberta. It's there. So cheers to 5 years of staying true to the craft. Thanks to Sober Carpenter for helping us keep the lights on in here. Anything else you wanted to touch on, Pike, before we get to thoughts, questions, and concerns? Maybe some news for the Wranglers coming up if they get a win this week.
Well, there's a few things. First of all, give a cheap plug to our friends at the Hitmen. Axel Hertig, of course, is away at the World Juniors, and he is doing pretty well. So shout out to Axel Hertig. But the Hitmen are back in town. They are hosting the Medicine Hat Tigers on Sunday. So if you are a absolute sicko, and if you're listening to this show, we love you because you're probably a sicko. The Hitmen play at 2 at the Saddledome, so you can go check out some world-class junior hockey at a building that won't be around much longer. And then you can go home and watch the Flames and the Golden Knights on your screen of choice at 6 p.m. So you can do both. And if you have kiddos that just you want to get them out of the house, or you want to get away from them, or some combination they're in, it's an easy, inexpensive way to get an afternoon of entertainment and diversions from whatever else you got going on. And I believe on the 30th, the Wranglers are back in action at home against Abbotsford. So here's the way it works for the All-Star game, folks. They name the coaches of the 4 divisions first based on which AHL teams in each division have the best records. They sort by points percentage. So far, the Toronto Marlies are sending John Gruden, and I think a couple other guys have clinched spots. So if the Wranglers win against Abbotsford on the 30th, they are guaranteed to finish at first place as of the end of the calendar year, which is the cutoff they use. And so the Wranglers would be sending a coach of whoever the coach is at that point, my understanding is, to the AHL All-Star Classic. Right now, Trent calls up with the Flames. We don't know how long he's going to be there. He's there until the situation with the family matter that Brad Larson's dealing with has been resolved, and he's back with the team. So we don't know. It's I believe the term the press release used was the unforeseeable future, which I kind of love because you don't know when things happen. But one of the Wranglers coaches, either Joe Cirella, the interim coach, or head coach Trent Cull, if he's not with the Flames at that point, would be going if the Wranglers win. If the Wranglers win on the 30th, no matter what the second place team does, the Wranglers would have the best points percentage.
So there's a lot of hockey stuff going on these days.
Put a nice little bow on that. All right, let's see if we can get to a couple questions here before we call her a night. There's one from Monty. Hey guys, what's your thoughts on Marco Rossi as a potential trade target?
He's not going to be cheap. I like Marco Rossi. He has the level of finesse that the Flames could use. But I'm just curious about the acquisition cost. And they need centers, and they need right shot centers. And I think if you're going to be giving up assets for anything, if they don't tick right shot center, ideally a big boy, because a lot of their skill players are sort of smallish, and they would like to get some size at the middle, and someone who's good at faceoffs. So we'll see. What do you think, Cami? What's your take on that one?
Oh, they can't afford that. I don't know about that one. Let's see. We got another one here. What does Conroy do about Kuzmenko? Doesn't look like Peltier or Dewar are coming out of the lineup. And it's worth noting that the Wranglers did call up 2 more players from the Rapid City Rush yesterday to fill those positions. I think we know what Kuzmenko is at this point. It was a good experiment. It hasn't worked this season. But I don't know what you can get for him at this point if a trade is the option you'd be looking for, unless it was probably part of a package.
Yeah, I'll say this. He's been super streaky as an NHL player. Last year, if you split his season into the Vancouver half and the Calgary half, in the Vancouver half, he was shooting like 4% or 6%, coming off a year where he shot 25%. And so his numbers sucked. He's never been a defensive stalwart. Folks who follow the KHL, KHL is kind of defense optional to begin with, but even by KHL standards, he wasn't a great two-way player. He wasn't a great two-way player in Vancouver. When he was scoring, you could put up with it. And when he wasn't scoring, all of a sudden he became a liability. And then, especially when you switch coaches to one that, wants a bit more structure, I can understand why he played his way out of BC. And here, when he came here last year, the last 20 odd games he played, he was shooting 22% or 24%, and everything went in. So you could look past his deficiencies, because the power play was insane. And once things stopped going in for him, then all you see are the deficiencies. So
yeah, you're not left with much then.
Yeah. So, I think the challenge is, especially with the way that, Pelche and Dewar are playing, the logical place to put him in the lineup is top 9, because he's not a fourth line checker. And that would be, even if he was playing well, that's not a good use of his skills. But I don't think Jacob Pelche has done anything to play his way down the rotation out of the lineup. And even Walker Dewar, if you want fourth line energy for 8 to 12 minutes a night, I think right now Walker Dewar is probably a better fit for that role. So until somebody gets banged up, somebody hits a cold streak, somebody needs a night off, somebody catches the flu or whatever, I think Kuzmenko is going to be a very well compensated spectator.
Looks like it. Yeah, we just see Peltier just under 13 minutes tonight, had 4 shots, block, a hit. Yeah, Dewar, like you said, 8:23 around there. It'll be interesting. And they have a tough one ahead tomorrow. So let's take a look at that board from Bet365, world's largest sports betting platform. You can open an account today and bet on a huge range of markets. So you better download the app today and make sure you use the code NATION when you sign up. Tell them we sent you, and whatever the sport, whatever the moment, never ordinary at Bet365. Let's take a look at that line. Not overwhelmingly positive for the Flames.
Yeah, it's when you're going to a place where, I looked it up, they're 2-8-2 in the illustrious history of their trips to Vegas, many of which have been on the back ends of back-to-backs. Not all of them, but a non-infinite out. But yeah, they just, Vegas has, home ice advantage, whether it's the Vegas flu or that crazy fan base or just the atmosphere that they've developed there. As someone who spent a lot of time in a few Western markets in the continent, I spend a not trivial amount of time in Vegas in my young life, and they've done such a good job making that team part of the community. And I think the community's done a great job of embracing that team. And as a result, they've got a pretty insane fan base, and that building gets loud. And they also have some of the best production in the NHL. If you've never been to Vegas for a game, or even just if a game is going on and you're in town, just go hang around outside the arena and soak it in. They have DJs, they have a drum line, they have showgirls marching people in. They have a night that sort of goes around outside the Toshiba Plaza outside the arena, rounds people up and says, let's go inside for warm-ups, and people follow the night in because he's got a sword, I guess. So of course you're going to follow him. Just in terms of just weird stuff, Vegas specific stuff, I think they've done a fantastic job there. And as a result, other teams, I think, just see the productions and go, what the hell is this? And, I think if you're thrown off by how bizarre the production is, they've already got a bit of an edge.
Yeah. Well, that one, 6:00 Mountain Time tomorrow. It'll be a fun one. Obviously, the comments are very normal about Vegas, but I mean, that seems like a pretty good place to leave it. Anything you wanted to add? I think we might have missed, Pike.
No, I think we hit on everything. Again, Hitmen and Tigers at 2 p.m. at the Dome on Sunday. Flames and Golden Knights 6 p.m. Mountain on some Sportsnet channel of some kind, or Sportsnet Plus if you want to use their streaming thingy. Should be, at the very least, it'll be an interesting game. Vegas coming off a dramatic comeback win over the San Jose Sharks, and then a flight home and a day off. And then the Flames coming off of a less dramatic, less comeback win, and then another flight to Vegas. So, the shoe will be on the other foot. The Flames were the rested team playing the team that played the night before tonight. And on Sunday, they will be the team that played the night before playing a rested home team. So, we'll see how it goes. Maybe they could win their third ever game at T-Mobile Arena.
And a third straight road win. Perish the thought. And if you do go check out the Tigers game, they beat Lethbridge. They're considered a favorite in the WHL this year. It was 4-0 tonight. Andrew Basha had 2 assists, 1 primary, 1 secondary, but it was a very good game for them out there this evening. So until next time, critters, have a good one. Thanks for hanging out with us.